Look, the truth is, most people screw this up. When they break up, they panic, they beg, they plead, they act needy. And all that does is push their ex further away. If you want a real shot at getting your ex back, you've got to approach this with strength, with calmness, and with self-respect. Because attraction isn't built by weakness, it's built by confidence, by mystery, and by emotional control. So let me break this down for you. Here are the 7 principles that will give you the best chance of attracting your ex. When someone tells you they don't want to be with you anymore, most people's natural reaction is to panic. They feel rejected, and that rejection stings deep. So what happens? They start chasing. They blow up the phone with texts. They beg. They cry. They make promises. I'll change. I'll do better. Please don't leave me. And in that moment, all they do is kill the very attraction that their ex once felt. Why? Because begging, pleading, and chasing comes across as weakness. And weakness is the opposite of attraction. Attraction is built on strength. It's built on calmness. It's built on self-respect. That's why the very first principle is simple. You must walk away with strength. Walking away doesn't mean you're giving up. It doesn't mean you don't care. What it means is that you respect their decision. If they say, I don't want this anymore, then you take a deep breath. You look them in the eye and you say something powerful like, okay, I understand. I want you to be happy. If you ever change your mind, get in touch. That's it. No dramas. No anger, no begging, just calm acceptance. Because the moment you do that, you flip the script. You show them that you're not going to chase someone who doesn't want to be there. And that calm, centered energy is rare. It's attractive. Think about it. How many people do you know who can accept rejection without falling apart? Very few. Most people lose control, they panic, they lash out, they make a scene. But the person who can stay calm, collected, and confident in the face of rejection, that person stands out. That person becomes unforgettable. And that's exactly the kind of energy you want your ex to remember you by. You don't want them remembering the begging and pleading. You want them remembering your strength. Now, walking away with strength also protects your self-respect. Because here's the truth. If you keep chasing someone who doesn't want you, what you're really saying is, my happiness depends on you. I don't believe I can do better. I don't believe I deserve more. And that energy is repelling. On the other hand, when you walk away, you send a completely different message. I want you, but I don't need you. My life doesn't stop without you. I'm strong enough to move forward, or without you. That's the mindset of a high-value person, and exes feel that difference. And let me be very clear here, when you walk away, you don't half-step it. You don't say you're walking away, then blow up their phone later. You don't stalk their social media. You don't send just checking in texts. You don't accidentally bump into them at places you know they go. That's not walking away, that's pretending. Real walking away means you remove yourself completely. You create space. You give them the silence and distance they need to truly feel your absence. Because it's only when someone feels your absence that they start to value your presence again. Now here's where it gets powerful. When you walk away with strength, something shifts inside of you. At first it hurts. At first it feels like you're losing. But as days and weeks pass, you begin to rebuild yourself. You begin to focus on your goals, your health, your happiness. You start to realize that you don't need them to feel complete. And when you hit that place, when you're strong, calm, and genuinely centered, that's when your ex starts to feel something different. That's when they start wondering, why aren't they chasing me? Why aren't they begging for me back? Did they move on? Did they find someone else? That curiosity pulls them in, and often it drives them to reach out. And remember this, attraction isn't a choice. Your ex doesn't sit there and say, I think I'll be attracted to this begging, needy behavior. No. Attraction happens subconsciously. They feel it or they don't. And begging kills attraction every single time. But strength, calmness, self-respect, those things reignite attraction. And the fastest way to show those qualities is to walk away with strength when they push you away. So the bottom line is this: walking away with strength is not about manipulation. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about truly respecting yourself and their decision. It's about stepping into your power. And it's about giving them the only thing that can actually make them miss you, your silence. Because silence is loud. Silence forces them to feel what life is like without you. And when you walk away with strength, you give yourself the best chance to either reattract your ex or move forward into something even better. The second principle is simple, but it's also the one most people struggle with the most: no contact. And let me be clear, no contact is not a trick. It's not a childish game. And it's not about trying to make your ex jealous. No contact is about respect. Respect for yourself. Respect for your boundaries. Respect for the fact that if someone says they don't want to be with you, the only mature and attractive response is to back off. When you cut off contact, you're sending a very powerful message. I heard you. I accept your decision. And I'm strong enough to move forward with my life. That's what makes it powerful. Now here's the reality. After a breakup, your emotions are screaming at you to do the opposite of no contact. You want to reach out. You want to explain. You want to get closure. You want to convince them to change their mind. You tell yourself, if I just send one more text, if I just call one more time, maybe they'll see how much I care. But what you don't realize is every time you reach out, you're lowering your value in their eyes. You're showing them that you don't respect their decision. You're showing them that you're unwilling to walk away. And that behavior destroys attraction. No contact flips the dynamic because instead of chasing after someone who pushed you away, you pull back completely. You disappear. You go silent. And in that silence, something interesting happens. At first, your ex might feel relief. They'll think, finally, they stopped blowing up my phone. I've got space now. But as time passes, that relief turns into curiosity. They start to wonder, why haven't I heard from them? Did they move on? Are they talking to someone else? Do they even miss me? And that curiosity grows. And guess what? Curiosity is the seed of attraction. But here's the mistake people make. They break no contact too soon. They last a few days, maybe a week, and then they cave. They send a just checking in text, or worse, they write a long emotional message pouring out their feelings. And when they don't get the response they wanted, they feel crushed all over again. That's why no contact has to be firm. You don't set a time limit. You don't wait 30 days and then send a message. You wait until they reach out to you, period. No exceptions. That's the discipline of no contact. And discipline is attractive. Think about it. Most people in life can't control themselves. They act on impulse. They give in to their emotions. But when you have the discipline to stay silent, even when every part of you is screaming to reach out, you show strength, you show emotional control. And emotional control is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. It tells your ex, even on a subconscious level, I am not desperate, I am not needy, I am not broken without you, I am whole, and I will be okay regardless of what you do. That energy is magnetic. Now let's talk about what no contact does for you. Because yes, it makes your ex miss you, but more importantly, it helps you heal. That space you create allows you to rebuild yourself. It gives you time to focus on your goals, your health, your friendships, your hobbies. Instead of spending every waking moment obsessing over what your ex is doing, you redirect that energy into becoming stronger, more confident, and more fulfilled. And when you do that, you naturally become more attractive, not just to your ex, but to everyone. And here's the beautiful part. When your ex finally does reach out, it's not because you manipulated them. It's not because you played a game. It's because the silence created space for their feelings to resurface. It's because they started to feel the weight of your absence. And when that happens, they reach out on their own terms, not because you forced it. That's authentic. That's real. And that's why no contact is so powerful. It respects both you and them. So remember this, no contact is not punishment. It's not about making your ex suffer. It's about giving them the freedom to make their own choice while you step back into your strength. It's about showing through your silence that you are capable of walking away and you are strong enough to stand on your own 2 feet. And whether they come back or not, you'll be in a better position because you honored yourself, you respected their decision, and you maintained your dignity. That's what no contact really means. After a breakup, most people put all of their energy into their ex. They obsess. They wonder what their ex is doing, who they're talking to, and whether they're missing them. They scroll through social media for clues, replay old memories in their head, and live in the past instead of the present. And what happens? They lose themselves. They stop taking care of their body. They stop pursuing their goals. They stop living. That's why focusing on yourself after a breakup is not just important, it's absolutely essential. Because the truth is, the more you invest in yourself, the more attractive you become. Focusing on yourself starts with your health. Breakups drain your energy, and if you're not careful, you'll fall into bad habits, junk food, drinking too much, staying up late, isolating yourself. But when you hit the gym, when you eat clean, when you move your body every day, something powerful happens. You feel stronger. You look better, you carry yourself differently, and that energy radiates outward. Your ex will notice, but more importantly, you will notice. And the moment you start to feel good about yourself again, your confidence comes back. But it doesn't stop with your body. You've also got to focus on your purpose. Maybe during the relationship, you lost sight of your dreams. Maybe you made your partner the center of your world. And in the process, you forgot about your own mission. That's common. But this is the time to realign with your goals. Whether it's advancing in your career, starting that side hustle, learning a new skill, or going after a passion you put on hold, this is your moment. Because when you're living with purpose, you become magnetic. Purpose gives you direction, and direction gives you confidence. And confidence is what attracts people, including your ex. And let's talk about your lifestyle. Relationships can sometimes trap us in routines that are comfortable, but not fulfilling. Maybe you stopped going out with friends. Maybe you stopped traveling. Maybe you stopped doing the things that once made you feel alive. Now is the time to change that. Get out of the house, reconnect with old friends, meet new people, take trips, try new experiences. The more you expand your world, the more attractive and interesting you become. And again, the benefit isn't just that your ex might notice. The real benefit is that you start enjoying life again, with or without them. Now, here's something most people overlook. Focusing on yourself also means working on your emotional strength. A breakup can expose your insecurities, your fears, your attachment patterns. Instead of ignoring them, use this time to face them head on. Read books, journal, work with a coach, meditate. Whatever helps you grow emotionally, do it. Because the stronger you become on the inside, the more unshakable you are in your relationships. And the next time you're with someone, whether it's your ex or someone new, you'll bring a healthier, more balanced version of yourself to the table. And here's the kicker. When you start focusing on yourself, your energy changes. You stop radiating desperation. You stop sending out the signal of, I need you to feel complete. Instead, you radiate abundance, you radiate confidence, you radiate the energy of someone who is already whole, already fulfilled, already strong. And that shift is powerful. It not only makes you more attractive to your ex, but it also attracts new opportunities, new friendships, and new relationships into your life. That's the beauty of focusing on yourself. It multiplies your value in every area. Finally, think about it like this: your ex left because on some level they lost attraction. And attraction isn't built by sitting around waiting, begging, or chasing. Attraction is built by becoming stronger, more confident, and more fulfilled. That's why focusing on yourself is not just about healing. It's the most practical, effective way to re-attract your ex. Because when they see you thriving, when they see you glowing, when they see you moving forward with strength and purpose, they can't help but feel a spark again. And whether they come back or not, you'll have transformed into a version of yourself that's unstoppable. One of the hardest things you will ever have to do after a breakup is detaching emotionally. Because let's be honest, when you love someone, your mind doesn't just shut it off overnight. Your emotions are tied to memories, routines, and dreams you built together. And when that bond is broken, your heart craves connection while your logic is telling you to pull back. That's why detachment is so critical. Because if you can't detach emotionally, you will sabotage yourself. You will stalk their social media. You will overthink every word they say. You will misinterpret every signal. And in doing so, you will destroy any chance of re-attracting them. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop loving them. What it means is that you stop letting your feelings control your actions. You stop obsessing. You stop fantasizing about every possible outcome. You stop replaying old conversations, wondering if you said the wrong thing. Instead, you step back and say, I accept where things are right now. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to try to control it. I will let go of the outcome and I will focus on myself. That's emotional detachment. And ironically, it's exactly what makes you more attractive. Because here's the truth. Neediness repels while detachment attracts. When you're clinging emotionally, your ex feels it. Even if you don't say a word, that desperate energy radiates off of you. They sense that you're waiting for them to validate you, to fix you, to give you meaning again. And that's heavy. Nobody wants to feel like they are someone else's only source of happiness. But when you detach, when you show that you're happy, fulfilled, and grounded on your own, that lightens the energy. That makes them curious again. That makes them wonder, how are they doing so well without me? Detachment also protects you from over-investing when you shouldn't. Think about it. If your ex texts you out of the blue and you're still emotionally attached, what happens? You drop everything. You respond immediately. You start overanalyzing every word. You look for hidden meanings. And before you know it, you're back in that same cycle of hope and disappointment. But if you're detached emotionally, you can handle their contact with calmness. You don't overact. You don't jump like an eager puppy. You read it for what it is. You respond politely, but you let them do the majority of the chasing. So that balance is only possible when you're not emotionally tangled up. And here's something most people don't realize: a detachment is actually freedom. Because when you're still emotionally attached, your entire mood depends on your ex's behavior. If they text, you're happy. If they don't, you're miserable. If they post something on social media, you spiral into jealousy. That's not freedom, that's emotional slavery. Detachment cuts those chains. It gives you your power back. It puts you in control of your own emotions instead of letting someone else's actions dictate your happiness. And that freedom makes you stronger, calmer, and far more attractive. Now, how do you actually detach? You create distance. You set boundaries. You stop checking their social media. You stop asking mutual friends about them. You stop feeding the obsession. Instead, you redirect your attention toward yourself, your goals, your health, your purpose, your passions. Every time your mind drifts toward them, so you pull it back and invest that energy into something productive. It's not easy at first. Your mind will fight it. Your emotions will resist. But the more you practice it, the stronger you get, and eventually you reach a place where you can genuinely say, I want them, but I don't need them. I'll be fine either way. That's true detachment. And here's the most powerful part: once you detach emotionally, you regain your natural polarity. Because attraction is always about freedom and choice. When your ex feels that you are not attached, not waiting, not obsessing, they feel safe. They feel free to come back on their own terms. And if they do, it's not because you pressured them. It's because they genuinely wanted to. That's what makes the bond authentic. That's what makes it last. And that's why emotional detachment is not just a principle, it's the foundation for everything else. One of the biggest mistakes people make after a breakup is chasing. They text, they write long emotional messages, and they constantly try to check in. And what they don't realize is every time they do that, they're pushing their ex further away. Why? Because when someone breaks up with you, they already feel overwhelmed. They already feel like they need space. And chasing ignores that. It communicates, I don't respect your decision. I don't trust you to come back on your own. That's why the smarter move, the stronger move, is to let them come to you. Letting them come to you is not about ego, and it's not about playing games. It's about understanding how attraction works. Attraction can't be negotiated. You can't talk someone into wanting you. You can't logic someone into loving you. Attraction is emotional. It's subconscious. It's either there or it's not. And when someone feels attraction, they naturally want to reach out. They naturally want to be around you. But if you chase, you short circuit that process. You smother them. You rob them of the space they need to miss you. That's why silence and patience are so powerful. Think of it like this: when someone pulls away, it creates tension. That tension builds curiosity. They start to wonder, what are you doing? Why haven't I heard from you? Are you moving on? Are you still interested? And that curiosity is the spark that makes them reach out. But if you chase them, you kill the tension. You give them certainty. They know exactly where you stand. And when there's no uncertainty, there's no mystery. And without mystery, there's no attraction. That's why letting them come to you is not weakness. It's the ultimate display of strength. Now, when they do reach out, here's where most people blow it. They get excited. They see a text and they respond instantly. They overthink every word. They read into the message like it's some kind of secret code. And because they're so emotionally attached, so they end up doing too much, they start asking questions, they start bringing up the relationship, or they push for answers. That kills the vibe. When your ex comes to you, the best response is calm, light, and simple. You don't make it a big deal. You let them invest more. You let them set the pace, and you only match their effort, not exceed it. This is where emotional control comes in. When you let them come to you, you're showing discipline. You're showing that you're not desperate, you're not needy, and you're not going to chase someone who isn't chasing you. That self-control is attractive because it communicates high value. It tells your ex, I'm willing to have you in my life, but only if you choose it. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to settle for crumbs. I want a relationship built on mutual desire, not one-sided effort. That mindset shifts the entire dynamic. Letting them come to you also protects your dignity. Think about it. If you keep chasing someone who isn't investing in you, you're basically saying, my time, my energy, my love aren't valuable. I'll give them away for free, even when you don't want them. That's not attractive. That's not self-respect. But when you let them come to you, you communicate the opposite. I value myself. I value my time. And if you want access to me, you've got to make the effort. That's healthy. That's balanced. And it's exactly what creates long-term attraction. And here's the most important part: when you let them come to you, you find out the truth. Because if they really care, if they really miss you, if they really still feel attraction, they will reach out. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to convince. They'll come to you naturally. And if they don't, that silence tells you everything you need to know. It saves you from wasting more time and energy on someone who doesn't truly want to be with you. That clarity is priceless. When your ex finally reaches out, the natural temptation is to jump straight into heavy conversations. You want answers. You want closure. You want to talk about the relationship, the breakup, and all the pain you've been carrying. But here's the problem. Those heavy conversations kill attraction. They drag the mood down. They remind your ex of all the reasons they left in the first place. That's why the smartest thing you can do is the opposite: keep it light, keep it fun, and keep it playful. Because attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And the emotions that reignite attraction are laughter, fun, and ease. Think about it. Lips, when you first started dating your ex, how did it feel? It wasn't serious all the time. It wasn't about solving problems or analyzing every detail. It was fun. It was flirty. You teased each other, you joked around, you made each other smile. That's what created the spark in the beginning. And if you want to rebuild that spark, so you've got to recreate that same vibe. Heavy conversations push people away. Light, playful energy pulls them back in. Now, this doesn't mean you act fake. It doesn't mean you pretend nothing ever happened. What it means is when you do interact, you don't lead with negativity. You don't bring up the past. You don't demand explanations. Instead, you focus on making the moment enjoyable. Maybe it's sharing a funny story. Maybe it's making a light joke. Maybe it's teasing in a fun, flirty way. The point is, you're reminding them of how it feels to be around you when things are good. And that feeling is what opens the door to something deeper later. And let's be real here. Nobody wants to come back to drama. If every time they talk to you, it feels like a therapy session, they're going to pull away again. But if every time they interact with you, they leave smiling, laughing, and feeling good, guess what? They want more. They'll start seeking out your energy again. They'll find excuses to text you, call you, or see you in person. Because human beings are naturally drawn to what feels good. And your job is to make sure that being around you feels good again. This is also where confidence plays a role. When you keep things light and playful, you're showing that you're not bitter, you're not angry, and you're not desperate. You're showing that you can handle the situation with grace. That makes you look strong. That makes you look secure. And strength is attractive. A weak person clings, complains, and needs reassurance. A strong person laughs, jokes, and enjoys the moment. Your ex can feel that difference, and that difference is what sparks attraction. Now, keeping it playful doesn't mean you never get serious. Eventually, if things progress, deeper conversations will naturally happen. But the timing has to be right. You can't force it. You can't rush it. You can't sit them down and say, "We need to talk about us." That's pressure, and pressure kills attraction. Instead, you let the fun interactions stack up. You let the vibes stay light until they feel comfortable again. Then, when the bond is reestablished, the serious conversations can flow naturally without pushing them away. And here's the beauty of keeping it light and playful. It makes them remember why they fell for you in the first place. It triggers nostalgia. It brings back the emotions of the good times, not the bad, and emotions drive decisions. Nobody gets back into a relationship because of logic. They come back because they feel good, they feel drawn, they feel attracted again. And the easiest, most effective way to trigger those emotions is by keeping things light, fun, and playful every time you interact. When it comes to getting an ex back, one of the most overlooked but absolutely critical principles is setting healthy boundaries. Most people get so caught up in wanting their ex back that they forget their own worth. They accept whatever scraps of attention they can get. They settle for just being friends when that's not what they truly want. And the problem is when you lower your standards, you destroy your own value in their eyes. That's why boundaries are non-negotiable. They protect your self-respect, and without self-respect, there's no attraction. A healthy boundary starts with being clear about what you want. If you're not interested in being just friends, then you don't play along with that role. You don't accept coffee meetups or endless texting that goes nowhere. You don't allow them to lean on you for emotional support while dating someone else. Because the moment you accept less than what you want, you've basically told them, "I'm willing to be used. I'm willing to ignore my own needs just to keep you around." That's not attractive. That's desperation. And desperation kills any chance of reattraction. Now, boundaries are not ultimatums. You don't threaten, you don't beg, you don't guilt trip them. Boundaries are quiet. They're calm. They're strong. For example, if your ex says, "I just want to be friends," you don't argue. You simply say, "I care about you, but I'm not interested in being friends." If you ever change your mind about wanting something romantic, reach out, and then you step back. That's it. You don't chase. You don't compromise. You stand firm in what you want. That kind of calm confidence communicates power. And here's the thing about boundaries. When you enforce them, you create clarity. Your ex knows exactly where you stand. There's no confusion. They can't string you along. They can't use you for comfort while keeping their options open. You've drawn a line. And whether they like it or not, they'll respect it. Maybe not in the moment, maybe not right away, but deep down, people respect those who respect themselves. And boundaries are the clearest form of self-respect. Boundaries also keep you from wasting time. Because let's face it, if your ex isn't interested in romance, then clinging to them as a friend only delays your healing. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you from moving forward. But when you set boundaries, you free yourself. You say, I won't settle for less. I deserve what I want, and I won't compromise my values to keep someone in my life who doesn't feel the same way. That mindset not only protects you from more pain, it also makes you more attractive because people are drawn to those who know their worth. And here's what most people miss: boundaries are not walls. You're not closing yourself off from your ex forever. You're simply setting the conditions for how they can interact with you. You're saying, this is the level of respect I require. If you want to be in my life, it has to be on these terms, and if they don't meet those terms, you're okay walking away. That balance, being open but firm, is what makes boundaries so powerful. It communicates that you're strong, you're confident, and you're not afraid to lose someone if it means staying true to yourself. And finally, when you set healthy boundaries, you create the foundation for a real relationship to grow again. Because let's be honest, without respect, there's nothing. Without clarity, there's confusion. Without standards, there's chaos. Boundaries give structure, they give stability, they create an environment where love can actually thrive. And if your ex does come back, it won't be because you settle for crumbs, it will be because you stood tall, you respected yourself, and you demanded the same respect in return. That's what boundaries do. At the end of the day, getting an ex back isn't about tricks, games, or manipulation. It's about becoming the strongest, most confident version of yourself. It's about learning from the past instead of clinging to it. It's about creating the kind of energy that makes someone want to come back, not because you begged, not because you chased, but because they feel the difference in you. Remember this: love is a choice, respect is a choice, attraction is a choice. And if you've been doing the work, if you've been focusing on your growth, your confidence, your purpose, then you're giving your ex the opportunity to see you in a completely new light. Not as the person who broke down, not as the person who was needy, but as the person who reclaimed their power. And here's the truth: you can't control whether your ex comes back or not. What you can control is you, your mindset, your actions, your standards, your boundaries. And when you live in alignment with those things, life has a way of rewarding you. Sometimes that means your ex comes back stronger than ever. Sometimes it means someone new shows up who's an even better match for who you've become. Either way, you win, so stop worrying. Stop stressing. Stop chasing. Focus on creating a life so amazing that whether your ex comes back or not, you're already fulfilled, you're already happy, you're already complete. And that energy, that strength, that confidence is exactly what makes people fall in love again. Because the greatest gift you can give yourself and the greatest chance you'll ever have of getting an ex back is simply this: becoming the best version of you. Confident, playful, purpose-driven, boundaried, attractive. A person who knows their worth. And when you embody that fully, love will always find its way back to you